Today, in honor of Tracy's birthday, I will read this selection from Hunter Thompson's Songs of the Doomed. Midnight on the Coast Highway. Months later, when I rarely saw the angels, I still had the legacy of the big machine, 400 pounds of chrome and deep red noise to take out on the coast highway and cut loose at 3 in the morning when all the cops were lurking over the 101. My first crash had wrecked the bike completely, and it took months to have it rebuilt. After that, I decided to ride it differently. I would stop pushing my luck on curves, always wear a helmet, and try to keep within range of the nearest speed limit. My insurance had already been canceled and my driver's license was hanging by a thread. So, it was always at night, like a werewolf, that I would take the thing out for an honest run down the coast. I would start in the Golden Gate Park, thinking only to run a few long curves to clear my head, but in a matter of minutes, I'd be out on the beach with the sound of the engine in my ears, the surf booming up on the seawall, and a fine empty road stretching all the way down to Santa Cruz. Not even a gas station in the whole 70 miles, the only public light along the way is an all-night diner around Rockaway Beach. There was no helmet on those nights, no speed limit, and no cooling it down on the curves. The momentary freedom of the park was like the one unlucky drink that shoves a wavering alcoholic off the wagon. I would come out of the park near the soccer field and pause for a moment at the stop sign, wondering if I knew if anyone parked out there on the midnight humping strip. Then into first gear, forgetting the cars and letting the beast wind out. 35. 45. Then into second and wailing through the light at Lincoln Way, not worried about green or red signals, but only some other werewolf loony who might be pulling out too slowly to start his own run. Not many of these, and with 3 lanes and a wide curve, a bike coming hard has plenty of room to get around almost anything. Then into third, the boomer gear, pushing 75 in the beginning of the wind scream in the ears, a pressure on the eyeballs like diving into water off a highboard. Bent forward, far back in the seat, a rigid grip on the handlebars as the bike starts jumping and wavering in the wind. Taillights far up ahead, coming closer, faster, and suddenly, zap, going past and leaning down for a curve near the zoo, where the road swings out to the sea. The dunes are flatter here, and on windy days, sand blows across the highway, piling up thick drifts as deadly as any oil slick. Instant loss of control, a crashing and cartwheeling slide, and maybe one of those 2 inches notices in the paper the next day. An unidentified motorist was killed last night when he failed to negotiate a turn on Highway 1. Indeed, but no sand this time. So the lever goes up into fourth, and now there's no sound except wind. Screw it all the way over, reach through the handlebars to raise the headlight beam. The needle leans down on 100, and wind-burned eyeballs strain to see the center line, trying to provide a margin for the reflexes. But with the throttle screwed on there's only the barest margin and no room at all for mistakes. It has to be done right. And that's when the strange music starts. When you stretch your luck so far that fear becomes exhilaration and vibrates along your arms. You can barely see at 100. The tears blow back so fast that they vaporize before they get into your ears. The only sounds are wind and a dull roar floating back from the mufflers. You watch the white line and try to lean with it, howling through a turn to the right and then to the left and down the long hill to Pacifica. Letting off now, watching for cops, but only until the next dark stretch and another few seconds on the edge. The edge. There's no honest way to describe it, because the only people who know where it is are the ones who have gone over. The others, the living, and those who have pushed their control as far as they felt they could handle it, and then pulled back, or slowed down, or did whatever they had to when it came to choose between now and later. But the edge is still out there. Or maybe it's in. The association of motorcycles with the LSD is no accident of publicity. They are both a means to an end, to the place of definitions. San Francisco, 1965. Happy birthday, Tracy.